Long ago, in a quiet village nestled at the edge of an ancient forest, the people lived close to the earth. They woke with the sun, worked with their hands, and trusted the rhythm of rain and season. Their homes were built with mud walls and thatched roofs, and the sound of the wind through the trees was as familiar as their own breath. On the edge of this village there lived a farmer. His skin was darkened by the sun, his palms calloused from years in the fields. One day he stood in a clearing with a basket full of seeds. He scattered them gently across the soil, seeds of mango, papaya, banana, and bamboo. The rains came, as they always did, and soon green shoots pushed through the earth. The villagers came to see. "Ah, look how quickly the mango grows," said one woman, her arms full of firewood. "The papaya already has leaves," said another, watching from beneath her wide straw hat. But the bamboo did not grow. 1 month passed, then 2, then 5. The bamboo remained just a tiny green stem, barely the height of a finger. The villagers whispered, "That bamboo is no good. Maybe the seed was weak. Throw it out and plant something else." But the farmer said nothing. Every morning he carried water from the river and poured it gently at the bamboo's roots. He cleared weeds around it, pressed the soil with his bare hands, and waited. A year passed. The mango tree was already heavy with fruit. Children climbed its branches and laughed. The papaya stood tall and full. The banana plant danced in the wind, its broad leaves casting shadows on the earth. Still, the bamboo did not grow. "Give up, old man," a neighbor chuckled, chewing on a stalk of sugarcane. "Why waste your time on a plant that doesn't want to rise?" But the farmer only smiled, his eyes deep and still like a well. He whispered to the bamboo, "Take your time. I trust you." 2 years passed, then 3. The farmer had aged, his beard turned silver, his back bent lower. But every day he returned to the same spot. He watered the bamboo, he cleared the weeds, he waited. By the 4th year, the villagers had forgotten the bamboo existed. Even children stopped asking about it. Then, in the 5th year, something happened. The earth near the bamboo cracked. A sound came, soft but deep, like the breath of something ancient, waking from sleep. The tiny stem pushed upward. In one day, it grew a foot. By the 2nd day, 2 more. In 1 week, it had grown taller than any tree in the forest. The villagers gathered in awe. Their mouths hung open, their hands shielding their eyes from the sun as they stared upward. How is this possible?" they gasped. The old farmer stood beside them, his eyes never leaving the bamboo. "For 4 years," he said softly, "it was growing roots. Deep, strong roots. It was preparing to rise. The wind passed through the leaves, and the bamboo sang. And still the bamboo stood, still growing. It reached beyond the tallest mango, beyond the whispering palms, beyond even the hills that cradled the village like an old mother's arms. Birds began to build their nests among its joints. Travelers from nearby villages came to see it, their mouths full of wonder and questions. "What magic is this?" some asked. "What seed did he use?" others whispered. But the old farmer only smiled. He did not speak much now. His strength had faded like the final light of dusk, but in his silence there was a peace that spoke louder than words. One morning, after the mist had rolled off the fields like a gentle wave, a young girl sat beside him. Her hands were stained with soil, her hair tied with a fraying red ribbon. She watched the bamboo swaying above them. "Grandfather," she said softly, "why didn't the bamboo try to grow like the others? Was it afraid?" The old farmer looked at her with kind eyes. "It wasn't afraid," he said. "It was wise." She tilted her head, but it just sat there for so long. "It listened," he replied, "to the earth, to the wind, to time. It knew its moment had not yet come." The girl touched the ground where the first seed had been planted. It was smooth, firm, no sign of the long years it had waited. "Can I grow like that?" she asked. "You already are," the farmer said, placing a hand over hers. "But you must be patient with yourself. Your roots are finding their way." She said nothing more, but her eyes did not leave the bamboo. The sun moved across the sky, casting long golden fingers over the village. The bamboo swayed gently, as if hearing every word, as if remembering its own years of stillness. And far below, deep beneath the soil, another shoot stirred quietly in the dark. It was small, no thicker than a thread of hair, but it trembled with quiet purpose. Around it, the earth was heavy, cold, and silent. Yet it did not fear the weight. It pressed gently upward, not rushing, not struggling, just listening, just growing. Above, the village carried on. The children played beneath the great bamboo, now a green tower touched by the sky. Women washed clothes by the river, their laughter echoing across the stones. Men worked the fields with steady hands, glancing now and then at the giant that stood as a reminder of time's quiet power. The old farmer still sat outside his hut, wrapped in a woolen shawl, watching. His breathing had grown slower, like the fading wind before nightfall, but his eyes remained clear, reflecting the calm wisdom of someone who had waited long and loved deeply. The young girl came to him often now. She brought him tea, warmed his feet, and listened to the stories he shared. Stories of the rains that once failed, the seeds that never sprouted, and the day the bamboo finally rose. But he never spoke of pride. He never claimed the bamboo as his own. He only said, "The earth knows when. We must only trust." And still, beneath the soil, the new shoot reached. It did not envy the great bamboo above. It did not wish to rise too soon. It stretched its roots wider, deeper, into the unknown, into the quiet places where no eyes could see. There it found strength. There it whispered to the darkness, "I am here. I am becoming." And all the while the winds carried the song of the tall bamboo through the village. It rustled like old prayer, like memory, like the breath of a sleeping forest. And no one noticed, not yet, that just beside the towering stalk, a second green tip had broken through the earth. It was quiet, almost shy, curling just above the soil like a question waiting to be answered. The morning dew kissed its surface, and the early sun caught it in a golden sliver of light. A small beetle paused beside it, sensing something new, something ancient, yet just beginning. The girl noticed first. She was carrying a bowl of rice to her grandfather when her foot brushed the edge of the soft mound. She bent down, pushed the earth gently aside, and gasped. Her eyes widened. "Another one," she whispered. She ran to the old farmer, her braid bouncing behind her like a ribbon in the wind. "Grandfather, there's a new bamboo. It's small, but it's there." The old farmer looked up, the fire in his eyes flickering to life. He took her hand in his, trembling but firm. "Then the earth has chosen again." The villagers soon gathered, circling the tiny sprout. Their voices were softer this time. No one mocked, no one doubted. They remembered. They remembered how the first bamboo had waited. They remembered the years of silence, and they remembered how one day, without warning, it had touched the heavens. So they stepped back. They gave it space, and in the days that followed, no one hurried it. No one asked when it would grow tall. They simply watched, they watered, and they waited. Meanwhile, the great bamboo stood over them, like an elder watching the birth of its kin. Its leaves danced in the breeze, casting shadows that fell gently over the tiny new shoot, offering shelter, offering silence. And far below, in the quiet world of roots and stone, the earth stirred once more. For the bamboo was never just one. It was always meant to become a forest. The people did not know it yet, but the bamboo had begun to call others from the deep. Beneath the soil, unseen by human eyes, more shoots stirred in the darkness, soft pulses of life, steady as heartbeats, waiting for their time. Seasons passed, rain fell, and the rivers swelled. The old trees dropped their leaves. Children grew taller, and the young girl who once touched the tiny shoot now stood beside it, her hands calloused from work, her eyes wide with hope. By then, the second bamboo had risen high, not as tall as the first, but strong, sure, and full of promise. And around it, in a quiet circle, several more had begun to rise, green spires breaking through the earth like dreams once buried, now awakened. The old farmer no longer came to sit outside his hut. The door remained open, and inside, the wind moved gently through his belongings. But his presence lingered, in the way people waited with patience, in the way they spoke to the soil with respect, and in the way they believed in what they could not yet see. One morning, the village children ran through the new bamboo grove. Their laughter echoed like birdsong among the stalks. The girl, now a young woman, stood watching them, the wind tugging at her braid. She smiled, her heart full of the quiet joy that only time can teach. She remembered the words the old farmer once told her. The earth knows when. We must only trust. Now she whispered them to others, to the boy who struggled to learn, to the widow planting her first seed alone, to the young man who had yet to find his way. She told them, grow like the bamboo, grow slow, grow strong, grow unseen, and when your time comes, rise. And so the forest grew, quiet, steady, and full of life. Each shoot was different. Each waited its own time, but all were rooted in the same soil, nourished by the same patience, and touched by the same sky. And from that village, tucked at the edge of the ancient forest, a new truth spread far and wide. The strongest things do not rush. They prepare, and when they rise, they do not rise alone.